Hello everyone, my name is Granger Britt, and today I'm going to be telling the Greek myth of Perseus, the ill-fated hero. Acrisius, the king in the city of Argos, his wife gave birth to a beautiful little girl, and they named her Danae. Well, Acrisius, wanting a son, went to see the priestess. And this priestess was one of the most famous oracles in all of Greece. And she predicted that not only would Acrisius never have a son, but that he would be killed by the son of his daughter. Acting swiftly, Acrisius built a huge underground lair of bronze, placed his daughter in this lair, sealed it up all but one big hole in the ceiling. Through this hole, Danae became very acquainted with the sun, the moon, the wind, and the rain. And these were the only things that kept her company. Well, Zeus, the king of the gods, saw her staring up into the heavens and decided that he wanted to make her his wife. So he appeared to her in a ray of light. And 9 months later, she gave birth to a son. She named this son Perseus. Well, the king found out about this child and immediately put Danae and Perseus in a chest and threw them out to sea. He knew that they would be finished and eaten by some sea creature, but this was not the case. Danae prayed that they would be safe and that they would not be eaten by any sea creatures, and they would be rescued. Well, a fisherman actually caught their chest in a net and brought them into his village and took them in as his own family. Well, Perseus grew into a young man, and as he was growing up, the king in this land wanted Danae as his wife. Well, this king's name was Polycletus, and he tried many ways to get Danae to become his wife, but because Perseus was there, he protected his mother from this king, and he could tell that this king was an evil man. So the king knew that Perseus was protecting him from his mother. And so he decided that he was going to pretend to marry another woman and have all of his subjects give him gifts of horses, because he knew that Perseus did not have a horse to give. So he tricked Perseus into saying that he would slay Medusa, the evil Gorgon whose hair was like vipers. He knew that this was a dangerous task, and as far as he was concerned, that if Perseus took this task on, that he was as good as dead. Well, Perseus accepted the task and decided that he would give Medusa's head to the king as a wedding gift. Well, Perseus, being the son of Zeus, he had 2 siblings that came to his aid, Athena and Hermes. And Athena and Hermes presented Perseus with a way that he could go and get some equipment that would help him slay the evil Medusa. So they gave him boots of wings, a helmet of invisibility, a shield so that he could look into the shield and see Medusa without staring into her eyes, and an adamantium sickle to behead her with. Now, Medusa was known to turn anyone who stared at her or looked into her eyes to stone immediately. So, they gave him the shield so that he could find out where she was by looking into the reflection and walking backwards toward her. This is the plan. But he had to get to Medusa. So he first had to visit the three Grey sisters. Now, these three were Medusa's sisters also. And they all shared one eye and one tooth between them. So Perseus made his way to the island where the Grey were. And as the one sister was passing the eye and the tooth to the next sister, Perseus snatched them away from them and held them ransom until they told him where Medusa was. Well, they weren't happy about this because he was going to kill their sister. But they also knew that they only had one eye and one tooth between them. So for them to see and eat, they would have to go along with what his wishes were and his demands. So they told him where he could find Medusa. Well, Perseus then set out on his journey, and he traveled to a land far away. He came upon Medusa in her lair, sleeping, laying with her other two sisters. Well, Perseus had the sickle to sever her head, and the shield to see her with, the helm of invisibility, and the boots in which to fly. So he used the shield to walk backwards, to sneak up to Medusa, so that she would not look directly in his eyes and turn him to stone. Once he got close to her, he sliced off her head and put her head into a bag that was also a gift from the siblings. So he contained the head, and as he turned to flee, her sisters awoke and tried to give him a fight. But since he had the helm of invisibility and the boots to fly, he put on the helm, became invisible, and flew away. And they were not able to touch him. Well, on his travels back to the island to rescue his mother from this evil king, he came across a woman on the shore tethered to a boulder. And he came and he spoke to her, and she said that her mother had boasted of her beauty to the sea imps, and that these imps went and told Poseidon that the woman had said that she was more beautiful than these imps. And so this angered Poseidon. So Poseidon sent a sea creature to terrorize the waters around this land. Well, Perseus went to this king and told the king that he would slay the beast if he would give his daughter, the woman who was tethered to this boulder, away in marriage. And her name is Andromeda. And of course the king was pleased with this because he thought that he was going to have to sacrifice his daughter to get rid of the sea monster. Well, Perseus fought this beast, And with the same sickle that he used to slay Medusa, he killed this sea beast. And his wish was granted. The king allowed Perseus and Andromeda to leave and go back to Perseus' land. Once Perseus made it home, he went into the hall where the evil king had already made Perseus' mother, Danae, a maiden, a house maiden. And this angered Perseus because he knew that the king had deceived him. So, as he was pulling Medusa's head out of the bag, he said, "All who are my friends, look away." He pulled the head up, and her eyes shone across the whole courtyard. And immediately the evil king turned to stone, and as well as all of his friends. Well, then Perseus became the leader of this land. And one day, his mother Danae wanted to go and visit her father. Well, her father got news that Perseus and his mother Danae were coming for a visit. Well, Perseus, knowing the prophecy that he would be killed by Danae's son, fled to a distant land. Well, it just so happened that the king in this distant land that Perseus had fled to sent Perseus an invitation for him to come and play in some athletic games. Well, Perseus accepted this and went there to be in the games. Once he arrived there, he was involved in the discus sport. And it just so happens that when Perseus released his discus, that it flew out into the crowd and hit Perseus, killing him instantly, thus giving Perseus the name or title, the ill-fated hero. So this is the Greek myth that I read, and I really enjoyed this story. And I hope you did too. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.